You've decided to start piano, something that you've always dreamed of. And usually, if you've dreamed of playing the piano, you have something in your mind that you want to play. That's what I've noticed. When I asked one of my new adult students who started piano with me, and I asked him, "Oh, what do you think of when you think of yourself playing the piano?" He said, "Oh, Chopin." Other people dream of River Flows in You, Clair de Lune. So I know you're wanting to play the piano because you want to play the songs or pieces. And that's great. But I'm here to tell you that you can't just play the songs. I mean, yes, you can. But if you want to grow as a piano player, you have to also work on some other things. To learn to play the piano, there's something that you shouldn't ignore while you're trying to learn to play the songs or pieces that you really want to play. And that is to work on your skills. Now, if you're playing golf or any kind of sports, you don't just go play the game or the match. Have you ever seen a soccer match of like 5-year-olds? They have like no idea which way they should be running to. They have no idea of strategy, so they all run together and they just try to make the goal. There is no teamwork. And if you just play the pieces, it's kind of like you're always trying to play the game, but you're not working on the skills that's needed or the strategy that's needed for you to be able to play any game successfully. You might even be able to play that one game because it's all written for you, but when that's done, you have to start all over because you haven't learned the skills or the strategy. So the advice that I have for you today is to work on your skills while you're working on your pieces. What are the skills? One of the best skills to develop is learning scales. And for all my students, I start them on 5-finger scales or major pentascales because that is the entry point. That is the gateway of understanding all music that's written. The other thing is to work on rhythm. I know people don't want to just work on rhythm. They don't want to count. But I tell my students, I still count. All musicians still count. We just don't do it effortfully. It just happens automatically because it's so ingrained in us. The feeling of like 1, 2, 3, 4, we may not even use the words to count, but we just know whether we are on the first beat or the second beat or third beat because we just constantly feel it when we are playing music. Getting to that point starts with a very deliberate study and practice of rhythm. So especially as adults, if you don't understand rhythm, if you haven't played other instruments and this is an area of mystery for you, please take some time practicing rhythm. You can watch my YouTube videos. There are 5 videos on rhythm. And I just go from real basic until how you can even use rhythm pattern to start composing music. Another thing that people don't really work on is transcribing music or melodic or rhythmic dictation. It means that you hear music and you try to find that on your instrument. So how does listening, what you listen to gets translated into the instrument that you're playing? In our case, we're talking about the piano, right? It actually happens through you. And the way we understand music that we hear is by singing and by moving. Ear training is one of the most important skills. And for example, in jazz, there's no question about it. If you're going to play jazz, you have to be working on ear training all the time. In classical music, we don't do it as much because we learn by reading rather than listening so much. Listening is part of it, but we rely heavily on the reading. So being able to like listen and play on the piano, that skill doesn't get developed as well when you're exclusively just doing like classical music. But this is a skill that every musician should be working on. Even if you're reading music, you want to be able to distinguish the colors and tones, not just the rhythm or the pitch.
Hi, this is Christina. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you like my teaching, please check out my course, Simple and Beautiful Piano for Adult Beginners.
The next skill that you should be working on is sight reading. Sight reading takes really long time. This is not something that is necessarily taught. I can't teach sight reading unless a student is practicing sight reading and doing it regularly. And reading is that one skill that I always tell people that always gave me a job because I knew how to read. I could show up and play for whatever, or just be able to learn something very quickly for a wedding. I could show up to a studio. I could teach. I could accompany. I could play with the band with other people. So that's another skill that you can be working on. Yes, you're here to play the songs that you love. But if you want to go a long way in being able to play the piano and play it effortlessly and not feel like whenever you start a new piece, you're starting over, but you're building your musicianship, work on your skills.